Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. Now remember, this is our Monday edition, and on Mondays we have the TTPS joining us as we say welcome, of course, to Inspector Michelle Lewis, and we're going to be talking about a Commissioner of Police, a conference, an association conference, where we're talking about, you know, maybe how commissioners of police act in the Caribbean. Am I on the right track, Inspector? I'm going to bring you in now. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Rebecca.
So we have
Pleasure to be here yet again.
Conference that's coming up, an Association of Caribbean Commissioners of Police.
Yes.
Tell us what we can expect coming out of the conference.
Yeah, so it is the Association of Caribbean Commissioners of the Caribbean, the ACCP, which is the Association of Caribbean Commissioners of Police. This is the 37th annual general meeting and conference. So it has been around for quite a while, and this year it is being hosted in Trinidad and Tobago. So that sometime in 2020, the approval was granted for us to host the event. So this year the theme is looking global, as you know.
Right.
We have 19 countries from the Caribbean represented here. Of course, Commissioner of Police, we have one other female commissioner from St. Lucia. And so we have strong support within the Caribbean. Of course, same things that affect Trinidad and Tobago, you would find that it affects other countries in the Caribbean. And so the topic this year is transnational organized crime, a growing threat to regional security.
Now that transnational crime, provide some more details about it. Is it that we're seeing crime happening in different countries? How crime in other countries affect us here? How are they going to actually focus on that one particular topic?
So they're going to, the theme, they're going to break it up into tourism. They're going to break it up into like organized crime, drugs, firearm, and that kind of thing. For the Caribbean, as we know, tourism is a strong aspect of the Caribbean and what sells in the Caribbean. And so we're going to look at how it negatively impacts tourism, because where you have high crime, you're going to have a reduction in tourists and that revenue that comes in, as in Trinidad and Tobago in particular. So that you're going to have speakers not just from the region but also international who are going to be here. You're going to have some speakers from UAE as well who are going to be there, and of course some subject matter experts in crime.
Inspector, you mentioned this is the 37th one of these. What usually comes out of them?
All right, so the intention, of course, the objective is always to bring together policymakers, practitioners, technocrats, to really have a more collaborative and cooperative way to approach emerging issues, and of course, to come out of that the best practices.
I mean,
devil's advocate, tell us.
No, my challenge is, it sounds very similar to the symposium that was held the other day, where we had regional leaders coming together to say what the challenges are that they face in their various countries when it comes to crime. And we decided crime is a public health issue. And we need to fix that, right? So for me, naturally, this makes sense, right? As in, the commissioners of police come forward to say, all right, how are we going to tackle this together? Is it that we're only concerned about tourism and how it's impacted?
No,
is there going to be a part of it where we actually get to sit down and talk about the people who live here, the citizens, who are concerned about their own safety as well?
But the topic, the theme is transnational organized crime. So transnational organized crime is firearms, drugs, illegal drugs, and importation of it, human trafficking. So all that is transnational crime that impacts Trinidad and Tobago as well as other Caribbean countries. However, where you have an increase in crime, it will impact what the country is selling as their product. And a lot of Caribbean countries, their product is tourism. So yes, you're looking at tourism as one aspect, but you're also looking at how crime impacts each country and how what we can do collectively to reduce crime. So for example, in Trinidad and Tobago, Trinidad in particular is not strong on tourism, as we know.
But Tobago is.
But Tobago is, but I mean, you know, so yes, you might say, well, how does it really impact Trinidad? In terms of, because tourism is not a Trinidad thing, it's a Tobago thing, even though we are Trinidad and Tobago.
But we have carnival and things like that that we depend on tourism for.
Yes, but in the main, I mean, if you look at the history of Trinidad, we are now diversifying.
We still have plenty oil.
And diversifying, meaning we're still in the process, right? So that you have all the aspects of it that impacts Trinidad negatively. We have a lot of human trafficking that takes place in Trinidad and in the Caribbean, because you look at the Caribbean, you're not looking just as the English-speaking, you're looking at the Spanish-speaking, the French-speaking Caribbean countries. And of course, the hub that Trinidad and Tobago is, in particular Trinidad, in the whole hemisphere.
Yes.
And how it impacts us negatively. You're looking at how the drugs come in with the illegal firearms. You're looking at how the firearms remain in Trinidad, and as a result of the illegal firearms we have in Trinidad, you find young persons are being impacted by it. So even though I say tourism, and I just pulled out the topic of tourism ruckus, that is not the only topic that is going, but on a wider scale, because whatever impacts a country negatively will impact the outlook of it.
You know, we mentioned of course, we know Trinidad and Tobago has been stated as a transshipment point for things like that. So I understand the relevance when it comes to us. My challenge is, are we going to be able to stand up and say, realistically, the same youth that we're talking about that's affected by the guns coming into the country, they can't afford to bring the guns in the country. Are we going to be able to have the honest, raw conversations, the hard conversations about the people who have the influence, who have the money to do the shipment that we're talking about, to ship containers full of humans or containers full of guns? Are we going to have those actual conversations?
Well, one of the things that comes out of human trafficking, is that a lot of times when the persons, in some cases the persons, are tricked to come in the country, meaning that they would have been told some other story in relation to coming to Trinidad and Tobago, right? In some cases they would have probably even given money to be able to come out of their country based on whatever situation, depressed situation that they're in and hope they're looking for, right? So you have that aspect in relation to, so the person would have willingly at some point in time facilitated until you realize that it is not so. In Trinidad and Tobago, as you know, the police aspect, we deal with the land and that kind of thing, and then you have the other agencies that treat with other aspects of national security and the borders and that kind of thing. So you have persons who have different responsibilities, who I cannot speak about in relation to the doing interventions and interceptions in relation to criminal activities in the air, on the sea,
and on land.
Well, I can speak to land.
I can speak to land. Do the best backpedaling I ever heard in my life.
But Trinidad and Tobago,
that was the best backpedaling
we do not produce firearms.
No, we do not.
Right, we do not.
But somehow we have plenty.
But our borders, as we know, and this is a discussion that it has just been continuous. Our borders are weak.
It's porous, as they say.
Yeah.
Now, before Ruckus holds you, for the next 4 or 5 minutes we have, Inspector, I wanted to get back to the conference in terms of what sort of topics are going to be discussed, and just remind us, I think it's taking place from the 22nd to the 26th of Hyatt.
Yes, it is. So it starts today. It starts today at Hyatt and it ends on Thursday. And some of the topics, of course, will be organized crime and how organized crime has globalized and increased our security threat in the Caribbean.
That is the one we need to talk about.
Deploying artificial intelligence, machine learning, smart and that kind of thing. So how technology can help us in relation to crime and crime fighting strategies.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now, Inspector, is the media going to be invited to all of the sessions, or are there going to be some closed-door sessions
There are going to be some closed-door sessions with the commissioners.
Right.
The media generally is invited this morning from 9 a.m., so we expect to see TTT well represented there from 9 to 10:30 this morning.
Right.
And then you can come out after 10:30?
Well, we have some things that we don't want the media to bring forward, as they generally do, and then, cause our plans not to work the way that we would like it to work.
Yeah.
So we have the Prime Minister who would be doing our feature address, and of course the Minister of National Security, the Commissioner, and some other key persons will be there at the opening.
Will there be a report generated from some of that discussion, so at least we know what are some of the decisions and policies moving forward?
Yes, I believe that we will. I don't want to
say and then
decide myself. Yes. But I anticipate that afterwards there will be a brief in relation to general information.
Yeah. This is the 37th one, Inspector. So let's look back at the 35th or the 36th. What were some of the things coming out of it? Do you remember, in terms of how the commissioners of police can, even if they weren't talking about crime or that theme at that particular year, what sort of things come out of those previous sessions?
So this year it's been held in Trinidad and Tobago. I think pre-COVID, because we hadn't had it for a while.
Right.
I think it was in either Barbados or Jamaica. Next year it's going to be in Belize. I am integrally in part of it because in Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. And I really do not know what transpired out of
in the
last,
other countries. Okay.
In the last one, but next year it's going to be in Belize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was asking because I know it's the Association of Commissioners, and so I was hoping that at least maybe our Commissioner of Police, who would have been at that time, may have been present at the one that they had before, and maybe would have bring back some sort of reporters. But I guess we wait to see what's happening.
And so the commissioner who we have now and the commissioner then is two different commissioners.
Yeah.
And so we will have
in
the
so
report.
many ways. In so many ways. But go ahead, Inspector.
Yes. So sometimes, for example, when you have the hosting of an event.
Right.
Like I said, it's
different than just attending.
Yeah, and then not only that, it's held, that agreement takes place a couple of years before it actually comes to pass. So that at this current time, we have Commissioner of Police, Erla Christopher.
Right.
Then it would have been another commissioner. Yeah. But the mantle and the mandate continues within the organization. And so the commissioner, at this time, I am sure ma'am would have perused the documents and that kind of thing and what was in the previous to know where her footing is going into this one.
So we look forward to hearing the report about it after. Hopefully we'll be able to get access to that and see what the decisions are coming out of the 37th Association of Caribbean Commissioners of Police happening from today to Thursday at the Hyatt Regency. Like Inspector said, we'll be going live from 9 a.m.-ish this morning.
Yes, it's live.
Once we able to get down there in time and everything set up properly, we'll go live and bring all the information that we can to you. Inspector, thank you so much for joining us.
Welcome. By the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, we are also streaming it live on our Facebook page.
That's what we're talking about.
As well, so that members of the public can look in and also...
And get the information.
And get the information. So again, we say thanks for being here. And we encourage members of the public, if you see something to say something, continue to call us, continue to have that partnership with us as we reduce crime and the fear of crime in Trinidad and Tobago and in the region.
Thank you so much, Inspector. We'll take a quick break and come back with more Inside the Now Morning Show. Stick around.
Tongue was like a bad tone, but nowadays in soap.